Thank you for joining us in Nigeria Tonight. I'm Felicity Ezewike. We'll begin by telling you that a Rivers State High Court sitting in Port Harcourt has granted an ex-parte motion filed by the Chief of Staff to Governor Sim Fubara against the Nigerian Police. Edison Ehie had asked the court to restrain the police and other security agencies from arresting, detaining or harassing him over his alleged involvement in the explosion at the Rivers State House of Assembly. The court, presided over by Justice Sika Aprioku, after granting the order, adjourned to the 6th of February for hearing of the substantive application. Earlier today, Justice Emeka Nwite of the Federal High Court in Abuja issued a warrant for the arrest of Mr. Ehie, along with 5 other persons based in Port Harcourt for their alleged mastermind of the attack on the Rivers State House of Assembly. Let's see if we can get some perspective with the help of a former special advisor to Governor Wike and a civil rights advocate, Opunabo Inko-Tariye. Thank you very much for joining us. All right, in one day, 2 courts of concurrent jurisdiction gave different directives. What do you make out of this? Are we back to the era of conflicting court rulings?
Well, it is 5-star. I didn't get your first question. Sorry, I had an incoming call. But it's extremely sad that you have what is going on right now, conflicting court orders. Our judges and justices, honestly, most of them, they need to be investigated. Let's look at the order from the Federal High Court. We all know that jurisdiction is the fulcrum on which the adjudicating competence of the court rests. So before a court goes to a matter and entertains a matter, the paramount issue there is whether that court has jurisdiction. And the Federal High Court has no jurisdiction. This matter, the jurisdiction of the Federal High Court is spelled out in the Constitution. It has to do with the federal government, the agencies, federal and state, in most cases, in some cases, but not when it has to do with intrastate matters. That is not within the purview of the federal. So such orders are being procured. And we all know these orders are mostly planned for political reasons. Because we find in Rivers State, for example, a situation where we all asking of the problems. There is a war between the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory and the governor. Of course, the minister has his own minion, the name of designation of members of the State House of Assembly. And so most of the actions of the State House of Assembly members are being engineered or frustrated by the minister. They will not do whatever, they will not do anything without the consent and myself.
Opunabo, you're on a national television and you're making a strong accusation that yes, that the courts, the cases.
When you ask,
if I may just land.
If you don't allow me to speak,
all right, go ahead.
The wrong speech. Let me speak. Let me make this point. First and foremost, those who are calling for the investigation of the matter are no longer members of the House. They are no longer members because we have plethora Supreme Court judgment that says the moment you defect, you lose your seat. Automatically, once you defect, except you have crisis in the party. And in the PDP, there are no crisis. It was just a matter of the secretary who wanted to contest for governorship of the state not resigning his appointment before the election, and somebody dragged him to court. That is one. Secondly, the so-called, the former members of the House, the former members of the House of Senate said they defected because of the good works of Tinubu. That is not the condition to the spelled out by this Constitution. Or it isn't an extenuating circumstance spelled out by the Supreme Court. Therefore, they are not members of the House. Let's get this issue straight. We are not talking politics here. We are talking of judgments of the Supreme Court. So on what locus Otherwise, if the Inspector General of Police is investigating the ask, so-called ask, there's no problem about that. It's a public building.
All right. Before I go ahead and ask. Before I go ahead and ask you other questions, I'd like you to just clarify your statement, if you would. When you say that these cases are being bought, are you accusing the judiciary of giving orders based off of financial inducement, or you were just making a general statement?
No, based on financial inducement. And I say so because, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. I can hear you. I can hear you. Go ahead.
I say so. After all, Bukashawa spent most of the members who are in House of Assembly, National Assembly, would have been there, read for the bedroom talk with his wife. That is even one. Number two, a situation where a judge who is quite aware of his jurisdiction exceeds that jurisdiction, goes beyond that. How do you describe that? The NJs, I'm even surprised that the NJs is there to discipline the Court of Appeal justices and some of these erring judges. Because most of these judgments and orders are procured. These are very senior lawyers who know the law, and yet are running foul of the law. How do you describe that? So there is no other reason other than they have been bought. That's the truth, and NJs should investigate this matter. I'm not worried about the investigation of the burning of the House of Assembly. I'm not bothered at all. We want to know the truth. Let's get to the root of it. Let us know the masterminds, those behind that. So I'm not worried about that.
All right.
So if there's an investigation, if the ID is investigating that, there is no problem.
All right.
But why will you talk about arrest of a year? Why the arrest of a year?
All right, because we have very limited time. We have very limited time, and I would like you to speak on other areas as well. If I'm correct, the police is prosecuting the case as a result of the petition from the Amawule faction of the House of Assembly for Ehie's alleged involvement in a fire incident at the Assembly. Would it be a stretch to say that the Tinubu brokered deal may be falling apart because there doesn't seem to be calm in the state? If it is not a question of sending a letter to the governor, it is a question of asking the police to arrest his newly appointed chief of staff.
Well, talking of, I can't hear you. It's breaking, honestly.
I can take the question again if you want me to. I'm just asking, all of these shenanigans that's going on in the state, is it possible to say at this point that Tinubu's brokered peace deal might have fallen apart?
Oh, definitely. But first and foremost, don't forget that, first and foremost, I must be honest with you, I'm not comfortable with the so-called 8-point agenda. It was skewed in favor of a side. So I'm not really comfortable with that, because how can you tell a governor to represent the budget? The budget is already just passed into law. And for you to do that, you have to repeal it. That is number one. Then number two, how can you now force a governor to reappoint his own commissioner? It's skewed. The only thing that was in favor of the governor was the issue of the impeachment and removal, because impeachment is not removal. Impeachment strictly means of total indictment. It's just the impeachment and removal that they should stop. And we all know that what they are doing right now is geared towards that. So as far as I'm concerned, let the law take its course. Let us forget about the Mr. President deal, because that is skewed.
Okay, if you're talking about, you're talking about,
I would have accepted that. I would have accepted that.
All right.
And the likes of Dr. Emeka and co and all the kicked out. They were against it. They were vastly to the context.
All right, you're talking about reappointment. Considering the controversy around his time at the State Assembly, was it wise, in your view, for Governor Fubara to appoint Mr. Ehie as his chief of staff? On the flip side, might this appointment be the reason for the continuing court cases?
Don't forget that even while the governor withdrew most of his court cases. The matters are merely. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you very well.
Okay. Even while the governor withdrew most of the matters are only, in fact, continued with theirs. And that's why we had the Federal High Court judgment order in Abuja. So even the matters and only factors did not completely implement the agreement brokered by the president. They did not. Because while the governor will do most of them, they still had the cases in court. That is one. It is within the governor's power, within the barrack, to appoint whoever he wants to appoint. Edison Ehie resigned as a member of the State House of Assembly. And so it's a strong ally of the government. And it is within the governor's power to appoint whoever he wants to appoint. You cannot dictate to the governor who to appoint. It's his own administration. It's not done. You can appeal to him, but you can't dictate to him. But what they are trying to do, I must be honest with you, is to ensure that the governor remains embattled so that it's going to affect governance in the state. That's what all they are trying to do. Because even if he had listened to Martin Dango, he said they are not even going to accept correspondence from the governor anymore. He said this about a week or two ago on air.
I'm sure we'll have more time to...
The appointments are illegal. How are the appointments illegal? The House of Assembly is made up of just 4 members because they resigned. As at the day you defected, from that day you defected, you are no longer a member of the House of Assembly. Mr. President is not above the law. So Mr. President cannot come and change the law. This is not a banana republic. Supreme Court has said, once you resign, you lost your seat. How can Mr. President now say you've not lost your seat?
I'm sure we will be revisiting this subject in no distant time. Thank you very much for speaking with us.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Former Adamawa Senator Elisha Abo has called for the withdrawal of the appointment of Justice Chioma Ehie as a Justice of the Supreme Court over what he called judicial banditry and miscarriage of justice. Justice Ehie was among the 11 justices from the Court of Appeal nominated for vacant seats at the Supreme Court by President Bola Tinubu in December 2023, as recommended by the National Judicial Council and later confirmed by the Senate. Senator Abo, who represented Adamawa North in the 9th Senate and won re-election into the 10th Senate before nullification of his mandate by the Court of Appeal panel headed by Justice Ehie in October last year, made the call at a press conference. The embattled senator alleged that the justice carried out judicial banditry on his mandate with the lead judgment she delivered on Monday of October 16, 2023, overturning his election in favor of the PDP candidate he defeated with over 11,000 votes.
View of my case? No. I am a Democrat. I believe in the rule of law. We cannot change the law because of one person. We cannot change the law because it didn't favor a particular person. So, the fact that today the law did not favor me, I will ask for review. No matter how bad and skewed and perverse the judgment is, I am not calling for review. I will continue to stand for the law, and I tell my supporters, stand for the law. Don't break the law. Don't follow what is wrong. But I will continue to fight against judicial bandits. I will fight judicial bandits. This is just the beginning. We have documents that we have worked on. Even to Imo, we have traveled to Imo, we have documents. We will pursue judicial bandits wherever they are, so that Nigeria's democracy will be protected for you and me and my children. We cannot go back to military regime. Why are judges above the law? That they will deliberately occasion a miscarriage of justice and nobody hold them responsible. Are they above the law? Do you need to be in the good book of a judge, or you need to be
Few days to the legislative rerun and by-elections in many parts of the country. Stakeholders of the All Progressive Congress in Plateau State, north-central Nigeria, are putting heads together on winning the contested seats. News Center's Chizoba Anyowe attended a meeting held in Jos, the state capital, and now reports.
This is the first time the APC stakeholders are meeting in the capital city of Plateau State since the judgment of the Supreme Court affirming the election of Caleb Mutfwang of the PDP as the governor of the state. Aftermath of the Apex Court's judgment still dominate discussions. Senator Lalong noted that the democracy of Nigeria will be better if copies of the judgments were made available to the public.
I am not saying the Supreme Court is wrong. The Supreme Court is right because it is the highest court of the land. It is Supreme Court judgment that you will analyze. It is not what you hear say that will analyze. All of us in APC are also waiting for the Supreme Court judgment. We are not only lawyers, but also we can be law students, so that it will help us to borrow, so that it will help the electoral system.
Failure to swear in 16 members of the Plateau State House of Assembly that emerged through the judgment of the appeal court, even after the House resumed after several weeks of recess, remains a thing of worry for the
tools. The future is greater than the past, so we should forge ahead as a united front with zeal and full of determination. To all APC members and supporters across the state, we pay special tribute to all of you for remaining loyal, supportive, and obedient, even in the face of challenges, temporary setbacks, and provocations. Let me assure you that we shall emerge stronger. I advise all of you to remain committed as we lend support to all our elected members to enable them represent us effectively.
For the APC, the outcome of the gubernatorial election at the Supreme Court will not hinder their preparations in the February 3 by-elections in the state. Among those present at the meeting are the APC gubernatorial candidate Nentawe Goshue, his running mate Pam Botman, former Deputy Governor Sonny Tioden, and the APC Deputy National Secretary Festus Fuanta. In Jos for News Central, I am Chizoba Anyowe.
Now, Chairman of the Southwest Conference of Speakers, Adeoye Aribasoye, has challenged governors in Nigeria's Southwest region to put in place a multi-level policing architecture to urgently tackle the issue of insecurity. The lawmaker, who is also the Speaker of the Ekiti State House of Assembly, gave this advice in Ibadan when he led a delegation of legislators from the region to the office of the Oyo State Governor. On his part, Governor of Oyo State, Seyi Makinde, called for a more harmonious coexistence among all tiers of government. He also urged the Conference of Speakers to lead the call for the creation of state policing architecture.
On our own that it is also time for us to discuss with our leaders, our governors, that there is the need again to strengthen the security architecture in the Southwest. There's the need for synergy among our subnationals, particularly in the Southwest region. And there is the need to see what we can do, if it is for us at the houses of assembly in the Southwest, to also call on the federal government that there is the need for them to allow our states, at least we should have what we call multi-level policing. We might not call it state police. I don't know whether state police is something that the federal government is afraid, but we can have multi-level policing. And for us in the southwestern Nigeria, they are Moteku. I see no reason why they cannot be, why we cannot equip them adequately.
We are in a position to maintain state police. We give police, even in Oyo State, we had like 77 divisional police offices, and we gave each of them vehicles. Each of them. I have never seen where the federal government went to any particular state and give them tools that they need. So the states are already maintaining the police, the federal police, because the federal police are...
Experts are calling for a strengthened border relationship between Nigeria and her neighbors. This advocacy comes as the national boundary holds a one-day workshop with the aim of creating a platform for local border authorities along the boundaries between Nigeria and the Republic of Chad. News Center's Umaru Kirawa completes the report.
The workshop focuses on transforming borders from barriers of separation to bridges of cooperation and integration. Wide range of border issues were extensively discussed by stakeholders aimed at facilitating dialogue, address common challenges, and explore opportunities for collaboration at the grassroots.
For now, even in the Abuja, mobile local government, our people, they have already back to their locality and they are starting farming.
We need to also revisit our foreign policy issues, especially within the West African sub-region, so that we live with our neighbors in peace and harmony.
The creation of a platform for local border authorities is seen as an important step towards enhancing coordination and communication between the neighboring countries. Such coordination is essential in tackling transnational issues such as smuggling, illegal migration, and the threat of terrorism that often exploit porous borders.
The importance of securing our international boundary is a collective responsibility, and therefore it is imperative to equip our local border authorities with the necessary tools and knowledge to effectively carry out their responsibilities.
We in DCDA have from 2010, when we started operations, to 2023, executed 2,151 capital projects. At the ECOWAS level, the focus is now more on the promotion of ECOWAS of people rather than ECOWAS of state.
The creation of this forum, among other things, will prepare ground for the implementation of the African Union border governance strategy.
Strengthening the relationship between Nigeria and Chad, as well as other neighboring countries, will not only contribute to regional stability, but also foster economic development and cultural exchange.
Through open and constructive dialogue, we can identify common challenges, develop initiative solutions, and implement effective strategies that will enhance the efficiency of our local border.
By transforming borders from barriers to bridges, the workshop strives to create an environment where collaboration, trade, and investment can flourish between the border communities of both nations. In Maiduguri for News Central, Umaru Kirawa.
Senate on Wednesday summoned Governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, Olayemi Cardoso, over the freefall of the naira and hyperinflation. The summon was through its Committee on Banking, Insurance, and Other Financial Institutions, headed by Senator Adetokunbo Abiru. The governor and his team were asked to appear on Tuesday next week to explain the state of the economy and the free flow of the naira at the forex market. The committee, at a meeting on Wednesday, expressed concern over the endless weakening of the naira that saw it rose to 1,520 naira to a US dollar as at Wednesday. Speaking with journalists after the meeting held behind closed door at the National Assembly, Senator Abiru said the state of the economy, especially the inflation index, was of great concern to the lawmakers. To discuss this further, I'm joined by an economist and financial expert, Paul Agbaje. Thank you very much, Paul, for giving us your time. What are the primary factors contributing to the continuous decline of the Nigerian naira in the forex market?
Thank you so very much for having me. There are a number of factors that are responsible for continuous fall of the naira. One among many reasons is people's lack of confidence in the naira. Many Nigerians believe that putting their money or in naira has lost, or they've lost one of the major reasons for having money in the first instance. Money is a medium of exchange, what we used to have to purchase goods and services, for exchange of goods and services. But more than everything is that money is also used as store of value. In this case, money as store of value, naira as store of value seems to be losing on all areas. Therefore, some persons felt, keeping the money in other currency would keep them against the loss they might have witnessed if they leave their money in naira. So when one person thinks that he can do that, the other person also thinks that that is the right thing to do. What you see is that demand for dollar or any other currency for that matter would increase, while people don't trust holding money in naira. On the other hand, the central bank is saying, in fact, the liquidity in the economy is so much, and that we might have gone back into pre-currency redesign era, where central bank was starting from. The question is, if truly we have so much liquidity in the economy, how come the naira to dollar have such disparity, up to over 1,400 to about 1,500? Recall that your station was among the stations I had conversation with around August 2023. And I mentioned that by March, or not before March, we would have seen naira devalued if the same energy in terms of policy formation is what we have, to 1,500. 2 months before the time I projected, we have seen naira devalued to 1,500. And I can tell you that if action is not taken, it does not mean that we have seen the end of it. So confidence is an issue. A method of transaction is an issue. Transparency in the FX market is an issue. Those are issues, policy issues, and administrative issues that can be resolved. But there are also structural issues. When you look at the Nigerian economy, not my figure, the National Bureau of Statistics revealed that over 80% of our imports are on finished goods. Guess what we use? The dollar. Whether people source it at official rate or parallel market, that's on one side. On the second side, what we now sell to the rest of the world that is finished good is less than 5%. Also not my figure. The Bureau of Statistics revealed. When you check the trade report and you sum up the finished products that Nigeria sells to the rest of the world. So you can therefore say it's a consuming nation, because some of the things we sell to the world are not finished good. They still have jobs. We're exporting with them. Meanwhile, we continue to import final products into our country. So until we change the tide, and also people want to access the dollar, we notice that people queue for weeks, and in some cases months, before they could have access to their dollar. So this pressure on naira, naira needs to respond to dollar, and it's not happening. That is why you see a continuous fall on the naira. And here is it. Before now, we have tried to defend the naira up to stay around 400, 450. But I think some advice were given at some headquarters where we now notice that government felt that it's impossible for us. We are now ready to unify. That unification is what has refused to be unified, to the point that we're seeing 1,500 in an era where subsidy is already removed. Okay. If you drink, don't drive. If you drive, don't drink. If you remove subsidy, don't devalue. If you must devalue, don't remove subsidy just yet. Haven't removed subsidy. What have you seen? We have seen that, yes, subsidy has been removed, currency has been devalued, and rather than us improving, because people have, the argument we've heard before now is that subsidy is what is putting pressure on the naira. Subsidy is long gone. From 29th of May 2023 till date, 8 months still counting. How come that it has not really improved? It is because there's no confidence. It is because of administrative challenges, which I hope we solve in no time.
The central bank has been summoned by the Senate to explain what is happening and what needs to be done. As somebody who is in the sector, what other measures should the Central Bank of Nigeria implement to stabilize the naira's value?
Well, there are a lot of conventional and non-conventional. Because they are non-conventional, it's better not to say them on air. And I can tell you there are real viable non-conventional methods, which I think Monetary Authority we need to find out, investigate, to get what are those non-conventional methods. But of course, there are conventional methods. The first one is we need to give hope to the markets, to Nigerian people, that government is serious about stabilizing the naira. There's not so much communication as to intention, just the intention to stabilize alone, but it will go beyond intention to the actions of government and the policies of government to stabilize. And how would you know? If you ask people today, or people on your social media platform, what do they think Naira will be by May 2024? What will inform their decision? That's the point. So even if government said they are doing so much, but the people don't know, as a result, confidence is eroded in the currency. So government, we need to bring back confidence that Naira is the official currency of Nigeria, and that is what we should want. And that will mean that there are actions that are going on that we can see and some we may not see, that will make us have confidence in Naira. Those are short-term measures. Transparency within the FX market, which is not really there. Two, we also need to follow the money. How come that we say there's so much liquidity in the economy, but there is pressure on Naira? Could it be that some persons that have access to this liquidity are stacking it and exchanging it for dollar? Which may mean that perhaps when FAC is shared, these are important points. When FAC is shared, are we sure that all the money shared to subnational are kept in Naira, or by chance, some of them are kept in the dollar? These are facts we need to check. I'm not sure, but I'm just saying. Or do we say that large corporations are also keeping their money on a daily basis in the dollar?
Paul,
and this must stop if we truly want to save the soul of Naira.
The issue does certainly look hydra-headed. We're hopeful that there will be some solutions soon. Thank you very much for speaking with us.
Thank you so much for having me.
Africa's largest refinery, Dangote, is set to begin crude oil import from the United States in February. According to reports, Trafigura Group has brokered a deal to supply Dangote refinery with 2 million barrels of WTI Midland crude, expected to be delivered by the end of next month, marking the first time the refinery will purchase non-Nigerian crude. Nigeria, whose economy heavily relies on petroleum exports, is particularly impacted by these transatlantic deliveries. While the refinery primarily sources domestic crude through a supply agreement with the trading arm of the state-owned NNPCL, it recently received its first shipment of Nigeria's Agbami crude, facilitated by a trading unit of Shell. Subsequent deliveries include Nigeria's Amanem Bonny Lights and CJ Blend streams. However, this move is to begin crude oil import from the U.S. signals a response to the changing oil industry, where the United States is gradually becoming a major player in the global supply chain. To take a look at this, I'm joined by energy analyst and consultant Sh Dan. Thank you very much, for giving us your time. How significant is Dangote Refinery's decision to import U.S. crude, considering its initial reliance on Nigerian crude?
Hi, good evening. It's a pleasure to be here. So first and foremost, the Dangote Group hasn't given specific comments on why that is, but we can tell, from within the industry, we know very well that the Dangote Refinery has the capacity to refine all kinds of crude, including, Nigerian crude, U.S. crude, the WTI light, the Arabian crude, all kinds of specifications. So I want to believe that from the information that we have, 2 million barrels is very, very little, in terms of what needs to be, what they plan to import. So from all indications, it just seems like this importation is still part of the test run that they are conducting within the refinery, to ensure that they test all the specifications of crude oil and, of course, also establish supply lines. But 100%, I believe that it makes more economic sense to source locally.
What factors might have influenced Dangote's decision to purchase U.S. crude for the first time?
Like I mentioned, the refinery has the capacity to refine different specifications of crude oil, including the WTI, which is the U.S. specification for crude oil. So they importing 2 million barrels right now would pretty much be to enable them test out the refinery to be sure that, yes, they can actually refine. The specification of the refinery says, yes, it can do this, but it has not probably been tested out. So the best way to do it is import some crude oil from the United States and run it through the refinery, and then you see how that goes.
What potential challenges, or should I say opportunities, does this move present for Dangote Refinery and the Nigerian oil industry as a whole?
Well, the challenge will be if, for instance, because the WTI is slightly less expensive, but of course, it's still there will be costs on logistics, so it will not make any economic sense. But if, for any reason there are issues with, supplies within Nigeria, for the Dangote refinery, it is, them establishing another supply chain, a line of supply for their products. So, which is a good thing for them. However, I don't think that the WTI is in any competition with Nigerian crude oil. But Nigerian crude oil is, one of the best crude oil specifications across the world because of its low sulfur content. Only thing would be if, for instance, Nigeria, the security challenges get so high, or pipeline vandalism, and they are not able to get any crude oil from Nigeria market, then they know that they can rely on the US market.
Considering the increasing competition in the global oil market, how does Dangote Refinery's decision to diversify its crude sources reflect broader shifts in energy geopolitics?
It works for them as an independent company, so that they are not heavily reliant on only one region for their source of power. And I'm sure that is why they built a refinery that can refine all different specifications of crude oil. It's a good business decision in order to ensure that whatever the situation is, they can buy crude oil from any of the producing countries at any point in time. So most refineries establish such agreements and partnerships with different countries across the world, and then it's all dependent on supply that's available to them.
All right, Sean, thank you very much for speaking with us.
Thank you very much for having me.
Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, has assured residents that there is no going back for the May 29th commissioning date of the Abuja Metro Line project. Wike, while inspecting ongoing construction of access roads to the train station, says that the line will pose immense benefits to residents and reduce congestion of vehicles within the city center. Amadine Uyi reports.
It was an inspection tour of the access roads connecting train stations along the Abuja Metro line. The Minister of the FCT, Nyesom Wike, received updates from the contractors and the engineers on site.
This bridge is about 300 meters. Yes, you pass and then cross the road. The foundations has been completed. Only one axis that fall within the corridor. Inside the and they discuss the clearance they need for each pier, which our provision satisfied. So we only need the time they will not be in operation, or we take a holiday, maybe 1 week or 2 weeks, so that we can sink those 3 piers, crossing them, so that we can continue.
The alignment we ask them to use is along the rail corridor. Here they came through here and they want to come in between this. Yeah. So our people are saying, let's maintain along the rail corridor up to the mirror. And that is the position we have stood by.
He says that while construction is ongoing at the site, the FCT administration is committed to constructing quality access roads to ease citizens using the line.
If you do not create access roads for the communities who will be using this metro line in the various stations, then the aim is defeated. You can imagine if this access road is not there, how would they use this station to even go to the city?
He also adds that there is no going back on the May commissioning date, saying the metro line will pose immense benefits to citizens.
We want to fulfill the promise we have made to Mr. President and the residents of Abuja that God willing, everything be the equal, we will use the metro line. And for me, it is a major breakthrough so that this can reduce the influx of vehicles to the city, and it's going to help us a lot.
The minister assured those present that there is no cause for alarm in regards to the funding of the project, saying provisions have already been made in the statutory budget of the federal capital and the nation's 2024 budget. In Abuja for News Central, I am Amadine Uyi.
Nigeria's anti-graft agency, the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, has launched a tool expected to monitor financial transactions within government ministries, departments and agencies in a move to prevent corruption. This was during an anti-corruption summit in the nation's capital, Abuja, where the chairman of the commission urged citizens to come up with innovative ways to tackling the menace of corruption in the country. Marvelous Obomanu reports.
This gathering of traditional rulers, leaders of faith-based organizations, policymakers, custodians of higher institutions of learning, and many others, including representatives of the nation's anti-graft agencies, the issue of corruption among youths and government agencies was discussed.
The youth, religion, and the fight against corruption. It's so saddening that I stand before this eminent audience today, that our experience in fighting corruption that involve religious leaders and even traditional rulers is nothing to write home about.
By 2035, by 2050, Nigeria will be the third most populous nation on earth, with a population of 440 million. We are going to surpass the United States. But what are we going to do with this anticipated demographic bulge? We can turn it into demographic dividends, or it will be the demographic disaster that will consume all of us.
15 years ago, we were talking about these corruption cases in our country, Nigeria. How much have things changed in fight against corruption, which we know is the worst evil that can befall any country?
With the current administration making daring moves to fight against corruption, notable investigations of public officers have commenced. The Anti-Graft Agency, in a bid to save taxpayers' funds, says it has come up with an innovative way to fight graft. The agency launched a new tool expected to inform its officials in the case of any possible move relating to financial mismanagement.
This initiative recognizes the potential of religion as a tool for ethical reformation and underscores the importance of engaging diverse faith communities in our fight against corruption.
We are also demanding that these manuals should be effectively used, both in church and mosques and also in our institutions.
Stakeholders here urge citizens to join the fight against graft.
Why some of our young people divert their attention into cyber crimes is because they are graduates and there's no job for them to feed their family. We are not encouraging that actually, but we are also asking government to step up their gains, create more industries.
For any government to fight corruption, the first step is in the appointments of government officials.
This initiative by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission underscores President Tinubu's poise to tackle corruption, which is evident in the recent Corruption Perception Index rating, which scored Nigeria 145 out of 180 countries, compared to former President Buhari's administration, where Nigeria scored 150 out of 180. It is expected that the different institutions here who have a role to play in the fight against corruption will roll up their sleeves and get to work. In Abuja for News Central, I am Marvelous Obomanu.
Chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, Ola Olukoyede, has revealed the agency's discovery of a religious sect laundering money for terrorists. Speaking during a public forum on youth, religion, and the fight against corruption, as well as the launch of the Fraud Risk Assessment Project for ministries, departments, and agencies, Olukoyede disclosed that the EFCC was investigating a 13 billion naira fraud case with 7 billion naira traced to a religious group's account. He emphasized the widespread involvement of religious entities in money laundering. The EFCC boss vowed to pursue justice and recover stolen funds despite facing legal barriers from probing the religious organization leaders. The one-day event is aimed at addressing the challenges of youth involvement in cybercrimes and how religion could be used as a weapon for their reorientation. Let's now tell you that the Nigeria Customs Service has made a crucial arrest of one Abdurrahman Ibrahim for perpetrating fraudulent activities and assuming the identity of the Comptroller General of Customs and other esteemed government officials. according to an official statement released via the NCS verified platform on Wednesday. The NCS spokesperson, CSC Abdullahi Maiwada, revealed that the apprehension of the suspect was facilitated by intelligence operations conducted by the Customs Police Unit. He further revealed that the perpetrator deceived numerous unsuspecting individuals into paying him money under the guise of securing job appointment letters, amassing over 1 million naira through extortion. Maiwada added that the arrest underscores the unwavering commitment of the Nigeria Customs Service to combat criminal elements who exploit the service reputation for nefarious activities. That's all tonight. But before we go, let's take another look at some of the big stories. Court stops police from arresting Rivers Governor's Chief of Staff. Nigerian Senate has summoned Governor of the Central Bank as naira slumps. We also brought you news that the EFCC has exposed religious sect terror financing scheme. Would like to hear from you. Please send your eyewitness report to the number on the screen. You can follow us on social media. That's at News Central TV. You can watch live on DSTV channel 422, Star Times channel 274, Apple TV, and on YouTube.